German politicians call for new U.S. ambassador to be expelled and accuse him of meddling in domestic politics after the Donald Trump ally said he wanted to empower conservatives. Leading German politicians have called for the new U.S. ambassador to be expelled after the staunch ally of Donald Trump was accused of meddling in domestic politics and aggravating already tense ties. Richard Grenell took up his post on May 8 and immediately sparked anger by tweeting the same day that German firms should stop doing business with Iran as Trump quit the nuclear deal with the Islamic Republic. He stoked further outrage last weekend by speaking of his ambition to empower other conservatives throughout Europe, other leaders. Grenell also raised eyebrows with his plan to host a lunch on June 13 for Austria's arch-conservative Chancellor Sebastian Kurz, described by the U.S. envoy as a rock star. What this man is doing is unheard of in international diplomacy, Martin Schulz, former chief of the Social Democratic Party and an ex-European Parliament president, told national news agency dpa. If a German ambassador were to say in Washington that he is there to empower the Democrats, he would have been kicked out immediately. I hope that Kurz's visit will lead Mr. Grenell's tenure as ambassador in Germany to be short, added Schulz, playing on the German word for short Kurz. Schulz had earlier tweeted that the U.S. envoy did not behave like a diplomat but like a far-right colonial officer. Amid the row, Germany's foreign ministry is seeking clarification from Grenell about his comments, with the topic to be raised at a pre-arranged meeting Wednesday between the envoy and senior official Andreas Michaelis. There will certainly be a lot to discuss, and that's why it's good that the ambassador will be a guest tomorrow of State Secretary Michaelis, said Foreign Minister Heiko Maas. But the opposition far-left Die Linke party's chief Sarah Wagenknecht said Grenell had disqualified himself as ambassador. Someone like U.S. Ambassador Richard Grenell, who thinks he can lord over Europe and determine who is governing here, can no longer stay in Germany as a diplomat, Wagenknecht told Die Welt Daily. If the government takes the democratic sovereignty of our country seriously, then it shouldn't just invite Grenell to a chat over coffee, but expel him immediately, she added. The appointment of Grenell, a hawkish supporter of Trump's America First stance, was long held up by U.S. senators who objected to his allegedly disparaging tweets on female politicians and apparent refusal to take seriously claims of Russian meddling in the U.S. election. The storm comes as ties between Germany and the United States are strained after Trump ditched the Iran nuclear deal and imposed punishing tariffs on European aluminum and steel. Underlining the souring transatlantic relationship, Chancellor Angela Merkel has warned that Europe can no longer rely on the U.S. to protect it and must take its destiny into its own hands. Politicians in the U.S. too balked at Grenell's comments. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy tweeted that the envoy's interview with Breitbart was awful. Ambassadors aren't supposed to empower any political party overseas. For Jürgen Hart, foreign policy spokesman of Merkel's center-right bloc, Grenell is simply seeking to weaken the EU. The U.S. wants to prevent the European Union from further integrating and becoming a stronger political and economic power, Hart told broadcaster Hours Info. Although Merkel herself belongs to the conservative camp, commentators said Grenell was not trying to bolster the chancellor's party base, but rather its opponents from the far right. It is bad enough if that's what he is thinking, let alone saying it, said the Daily Berliner Zeitung. Media outside Germany also weighed in, with Washington Post columnist Ann Applebaum arguing that Grenell clearly intended to back nativist, pro-Russia and anti-pluralist forces in Europe. Grenell had certainly fulfilled his task if he was sent to Germany to destabilize Merkel's coalition or the Atlantic Alliance, she said, but if those are not his orders, then a different set of questions has to be asked. Why is the U.S. ambassador in Germany giving an interview to Breitbart? Why is he involving himself in partisan politics? For that matter, why is he an American ambassador at all? The Financial Times urged Berlin to respond to Grenell's undiplomatic behavior by holding its line on adhering to the Iran nuclear deal, responding firmly to U.S. tariffs as well as stepping up to its defense responsibilities.